I am trying to get on the same page with spending with my girlfriend. We just recently, in the past couple months, we did move in together, and I've been happy to cover all the necessity bills, rent, groceries, etc. But as of more recently, I have not been able to get on the same page. She has a card of mine that she uses for groceries expenses, but I've noticed a lot of charges that I can't keep up with. And I brought it to her attention, and every time I do, we get into a fight. So I'm just calling. What am I doing wrong? How can I get on the same page?
Does she work?
Yes, so she works, and she makes a decent amount as well. She has some other debts that she's paying. She has some student loans. She has a car payment. I don't have any debt aside from the debt that would be spent on that card that she uses that I brought up to her attention.
And what does she say when you bring it up? You say, we keep getting in a fight about it. What's like the dialogue? What's being said?
So, for example, at the end of this past month, there was $1,900 in between Target and shopping. And she's not shopping necessarily personal, buying shoes and bags. It's expenses that are for, home and decoration, but it's yes, correct, for not for a wrong cause or anything, but it's charges that I can see the bottom of the barrel coming very quickly if this continues.
How old are you?
I'm 23.
How old is she?
She's 23 as well.
And what do you make?
So I work an hourly construction job, and I make somewhere between 60 and 70 a year. I also do have a side business that I'm starting to finally see some income from there too. It's not consistent because it's still in the early phases.
Okay, you seem like such a level-headed, wise, smart young guy until we start talking about her.
Mm-hmm.
And then suddenly, like, all of your common sense left.
Yeah.
I mean, because you're sitting here explaining to me something that's absolutely asinine, and you're the kind of guy that normally would have just said, wait a minute, just give me the card back. This doesn't work. Why haven't you done that?
So it's not that I haven't. It's that I
take
don't
the card
mind.
back tonight.
Yeah.
This is going nowhere good.
Todd, the problem is you guys are acting like you're a married couple. You know what I mean? Like you're acting like, oh yeah, we are one in our lives and we're doing this life together. No, you're not. Like financially, this is not a combined.
You gave your roommate
venture.
a credit card, and your roommate has a spending problem.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying, and that's what Rachel's saying. Now, if you're her husband, now we got a different discussion. Now we're in marriage counseling and we get on the same page, and honey, we can't spend money like we're in Congress, and we start having these discussions, okay? But
yeah,
but she's not your wife.
But you just gave your pretend like you weren't sleeping with her and it was just your roommate, and you just gave your buddy who's living down the hall in another bedroom your card, and then he went hog wild at freaking Target. You'd be going, no.
Or Bass Pro. Just
Bass Pro.
Or whatever.
Okay, wherever. I don't care. But, I mean, you'd be going, man, that was a bad move. I want my card back. Right? Because that's the situation absolutely. You're in.
Almost $2,000 a month, Todd. That's a lot. It's not like you're like, oh, gosh, she spent $50.
Yeah, it was $1,700 last month, and I said something then,
Todd,
and we got an argument, and then it was $19 this month.
Okay, well, let me help you with this. It's going the wrong way.
Yeah, I guess my problem is I see so many characteristics of her that are marriage material, and so I try to overlook this problem and try and compromise and make it work.
No,
but every time I say something, we get an argument.
No, you have to take the card back, and now we have to start the relationship over, and the relationship starts with. The two of us have to get on the same page about how we are going to handle money before we talk about marriage. And a real good way to do that is not be living together, because when you're living together, you're trying to play like you're married, but you're not. It's like one foot in the boat, one not, and all you do is getting wet in this lake.
Yeah,
I mean, the boat leaves, and there you go. So, and so it's a problem. So, and I don't think you two, you're not describing a situation where you're ready to get married.
Yeah. That's
So-
kind of the
Well, and just know,
answer I'm coming to.
yeah, and know this, Todd, I'm sure she does have marriage material and all of that. And not that certain subjects can't be agreed upon, and seeing shared values and actually working towards reconciliation of us actually seeing life the same way. But there's like big issues that create that have been studied and shown that cause divorce. And money is always in that top 3. So I don't know. I heard this example once, so I thought it was funny. They were like, if they're like, okay, the top 3 ways that you could die from here to walking to your car are bears. And bears are one of the 3 ways that people die from walking from inside to their car. We'd all probably know about bears and be thinking about bears and probably have bear spray and be armed against bears and be aware. So if it's a major red flag in a relationship towards marriage, like it should be a big deal. Like this is a big red flag, Todd. Like you keep saying, you know what I mean? Like the attitude is like, well, it's just this. It may not be a big deal. And what we're saying is for a romantic relationship, for it to go further and you guys get married, it's not that I don't have hope that you guys could create shared values and actually start as grown-ups talking about reality, that we can't spend more than we make. And in reality, here's what this looks like for our life. You could do that. I hope you can. But if you can't reconcile this, again, it is a big red flag for marriage. So it starts really important.
So the conversation, if I'm you, it sounds, at a minimum, it sounds like this. Tonight we sit down and we say, hey, I made a mistake. I'm sorry. The mistake I made was I started treating the situation like we were married financially, and we're not. And so we need to keep our money completely separate if we're going to stay in the same house. And we've got to start, if we want the relationship to go forward, we've got to start talking about how we can be on the same page about money. In the meantime, give me my card back. Because we're going to separate our money again, because this is complicating our relationship. It's not helping it. I thought I was doing a nice thing by providing, and I made a mistake. I goofed. And so we've got to separate the stuff so that we can come back to sanity and start a fresh discussion like 2 grown-ups about how we can move this relationship forward. And it can't be that we're sharing money and a bed when we're not married. Those two, it just doesn't work. The data is in. It's not a moral judgment, although I can pitch that to you too if you want it. But but what it is the data is in. This does not go where you guys want it to go.
No.
There's research project after research project after research project, and we now know for sure that marriage is a huge advantage over singles living together. We see the health is improved of both partners. The sex life is improved of both partners. The wealth is 15 times higher for a married 35-year-old couple than a single female. 15 times higher net worth. That's actual data, okay, from research projects. Married men live 6 to 9 years longer than unmarried men. Apparently, women keep us from doing stupid stuff. I don't know. But are you going to eat that? Yes. No, you're not. You're married. I don't want you to die. I don't know what it is, but something, married men live longer. Married men make 26% higher incomes at 37 years old than unmarried men. Interesting. And that includes unmarried men shacking up, acting like they're married. You make 26% more if you actually put a ring on it. Hello. So, this is real, you guys. And you guys have been told a lie out there that, I'm going to try on the shoes before I buy them and make sure they fit. That's a lie. The data doesn't pay off on this. It doesn't work. I'm sorry. And if that offends some of you, we'll get in line of people that Dave Ramsey has pissed off in the last 30 years. It's a long line. Create your free every dollar budget today, the simplest way to budget for your life.
Hey guys, it's your host, Rachel Cruz here, and you're watching Dave Ramsey's Greatest Hits, where we're looking back at the best moments from the last 10 years of The Ramsey Show on video. So this episode is all about how to avoid expensive mistakes when it comes to cars, because it's way too easy to get this stuff wrong. And trust me, most people do. So let's look at some of the most watched car clips from the last decade, starting with our friend Faraz, who's made a total mess with his car loan.
Faraz starts off this hour in Los Angeles. Hey, Faraz, how are you?
Good. How about yourself, Dave?
Better than I deserve. What's up?
Just have some issues with my finances, like many people are calling your show, of course. So I have a BMW car payment that, when I bought, I thought I was working in Congress, I guess. It's a $600 car payment a month, and I make about $1,200 a month. And
are you kidding?
No.
Really? I mean,
Yeah.
were you making $1,200 a month when you took that car payment?
When I first jumped into my first car.
No. The $600 car payment on the Beamer. Were you making $1,200 a month when that payment was approved?
I was making about $2,000.
And who is the lender?
BMW Financial.
Okay. Well, we've established that their financial people are not as smart as the people that build their cars. It's a fine car, but these people are smoking crack to give you this loan.
Yeah.
I mean, who gives somebody a $600 car payment with a $2,000 income? They're brain damaged, man. Their parents are cousins. That's ridiculous. Wow. I'm scared for you, man. So, yeah, you got to get that thing sold, don't you?
Yes, and I'm negative 15,000. I'm upside down 15,000 because I rolled in negative equity from my last BMW before that.
What do you do for, how many hours a week are you working?
Just 20. I'm a full-time student.
How old are you?
27.
Oh, my gosh. What are you studying?
Aircraft mechanics.
That's good. When will you graduate?
June.
Oh, good. Okay. So there's a light at the end of the tunnel on your income going up substantially, right?
Right.
Like by this time next year, you ought to be an aircraft mechanic making how much?
Probably about, average out here is about 22 an hour.
Yeah. Okay. About $50K a year. Yeah. Okay. Okay. That'll help. Because that'll help you get out of the mess. I don't know how you're doing it. I mean, how are you eating and keeping this car payment up?
Well, I don't have any. I live at home, so I don't pay rent.
Oh,
I'm lucky on that.
okay.
But I also have $10,000 in credit card debt, and I'm only able to barely make the minimum payment. So
okay. Well, our first goal is to tread water until you graduate and get your income way up. The second goal is do anything you can in the interim to get your income up and still graduate in May. So we're going to have to pick up more hours, different job, whatever, and try to get more money coming in to throw at this mess as hard as we can. My guess is you might be able to clean up some of the credit card debt. Of course, you need to get them out and have plastic surgery, right?
Right.
And, get rid of them because we don't want to use them ever again. But maybe you can whittle a few of those away between now and May. And then when May comes, in June, you graduate, you get out, get a much, much better income. Then we start beating on this car situation. Maybe we can find a way to get some of the upside down amount covered so that you can get it sold. But I don't know if anybody's going to loan you $15,000 right now to sell this car, and that's really what you need, right?
Correct. What do you think about making a contractual loan with family members?
Well, I think it turns the borrower is slave to the lender, and I think it turns that family member into your master. Who are you talking about?
Either one of my two uncles that I think are able to do it, if they're willing to do it.
Yeah. If I were your uncle, I would love you enough to not do that for you. I wouldn't do that for you. I would make you fight through this because I think there's a high probability you're not going to pay them and you're going to damage that relationship. Or pay them as agreed. Not because you're not a good guy, but because the mathematics of this situation suck beyond belief. Does that make sense? And so I don't want, if I'm your uncle, I might give you some money, but I'm not going to loan you any money because you are in a mess, dude, and you're not going to be able to pay it anytime soon, easily. It's just a problem. So, yeah, I'm going to just, do everything you can to increase your income between now and June. And then, of course, in June when it goes way up, and let's get rid of that car as soon as we possibly can. And, the good news is you're only 27 and you got the rest of your life to never do something this stupid again. I've done stupid stuff. By the time I was 28, I was broke, man. I was bankrupt. And I had zeros on the end of my stupid. You just did one car. But dude, you did it big. I mean, you go big or go home. You did it. And so you got a mess on your hands. But you'll get out of this and you will never, ever look at a car payment the same way again, I hope. I hope you've learned your lesson. I hope this is, that's the problem with pain. It's a great teacher. It's a thorough teacher, but it's pain. And I don't like to learn that way. And I'm sorry you're learning that way. But, dude, you're getting hammered. And it's all because you set yourself up to be the nail. And it's just, wow, ouch. I'll tell you what, dude, let me do this. Hold on. I'm going to have Kelly pick up. I want you to go through Financial Peace University, our class, as my guest. I wish somebody had given me that when I was your age and shown me how to not ever do this again. And so I'll walk with you and get you out, help you get out of this because, man, you got a mess. Hold on. Kelly will pick up and we'll get you signed up for that. Yes, that young man has made a really stupid mistake, but I got to tell you, BMW Financial ought to be ashamed of themselves. I mean, that's just corporate misbehavior right there. When you give a 27-year-old guy a car loan of $600 and his income is $2,000, you're a freaking con artist. I mean, that's morally corrupt is what that is. So BMW Finance, you ought to pick up the phone. There's probably not a lot of guys in Los Angeles named Faraz. It's F-E-R-A-Z. I don't know his last name, but you ought to pick up the phone and just forgive this loan because you guys are absolute crooks. I mean, you're absolute crooks. That's just ridiculous. And you know what? Every one of the dadgum finance divisions of these car companies does this stuff. And all they see is meat hanging in front of them, and they're Rocky Balboa in the meat locker, and they just punch it out, man. It's just a reminder that, when you're doing business, you have to do good business with people. You and I can disagree about whether a car payment's a good idea, but no one with half a freaking brain cell thinks that car loan was morally okay. That was not okay. It's Faraz's fault, too. He sat there as a grown man and signed up for that crap. But, man, BMW, you ought to be ashamed of yourself. This is the Dave Ramsey Show. Eric is with us in Olympia, Washington. Hi, Eric. How are you?
Hey, I'm doing well, sir. How are you?
Better than I deserve. What's up?
Hey, I have a little bit of a disagreement with my wife. I was hoping you could tip the scales and give us some outside perspective. She wants to move up in car. I'd like to save up and pay cash for the vehicle. However, she thinks that having a larger savings is okay. She wants to finance the vehicle, and she's okay with having a car payment if it means we have a larger savings. And I tried to explain to her about, depreciation and tell her why it's stupid to get debt. But I think she needs to hear it from somebody else. So I was hoping you could speak to that a little bit.
Okay. The thing I've noticed after 30 years of doing this is that different classes of people, regardless of race, different socioeconomic rungs on the ladder, do different stupid things. Mm-hmm. Poor people, the rough end of town, play the lottery more often than anybody else. Lottery tickets are almost all sold in poor zip codes. Payday lenders, 800% interest. Rent to own, title pawning. You don't see these places in the rich end of town. You know why? Because rich people don't do them. That's how they got rich. Okay? In the middle class struggles with credit cards, with student loans, with car payments, and with whole life life and they give their money. The middle class ensures that they're never going to be anything but middle class by being in debt to credit card companies and car companies, and borrowing and using whole life policies, which are a complete ripoff, and credit cards, and so. And then you look at the upper class and go, okay, what do? Well, we want to mimic that because 90% of millionaires in America started with nothing and became millionaires. They didn't inherit their money. They're not crooks, and they're not professional athletes. They're regular people. They just did things different. So what do? When I'm interviewing people on the Millionaire Theme Hour, for example, I ask them, how many new cars have you bought before you were a millionaire? They almost always told me 1 or 2, and it was the worst mistake of my life. How much did debt cause you, borrowing money, cause you to become wealthy? They almost always say, oh, no, I never borrowed any money. That was a blessing. Every time I borrowed money, it held me back from building wealth. And so that's what rich people say. And what your broke brother-in-law thinks, or what some journalism student with $82,000 in student loan debt writes on Market Watch, I couldn't care less about. Or is a guest contributor from Motley Fool, and they meant fool for sure. I mean, I don't care if you're broke, what your opinion is about money. You follow me? So we follow the money here. Show me the money. It's a Jerry Maguire moment. And if rich people say the best way to become wealthy is stay out of debt, then we do what rich people say, because that's how they got there. And you can't, there's just no disputing that. And the bottom line is this: the average car payment in America now, last month we got data that it's now $501 a month is the average.
Gosh.
Okay, $500 a month invested from age 30 to age 70 in a decent growth stock mutual fund in a Roth IRA is over $5.6 million. That's what a car payment costs you. It's $5 million over the scope of your life. And so that's why, rich people don't have car payments, because that's how they got rich. And so the point is, your most powerful wealth building tool is your income, and you can't make middle class mistakes with money and be anything but middle class. And there's nothing immoral or ignoble about being middle class. It's a matter of if you eat the same food fat people eat, you're going to be fat.
Right.
Duh, And if you want to be skinny, find out what skinny people eat and eat what they eat. I wish I could do more of that. I don't do enough of it myself. But, I mean, it's a great example, right? Find out somebody's been married 50 years and they have a fabulous marriage and they can't keep their hands off of each other. So what did you guys do? Because other people I know about killed themselves, and I want to know how you get a marriage like that, And so I'm going to talk to people who are winning at something and do what they do, and not somebody that's just got a feeling or an opinion, because that'll make you broke your whole life. So all of that is how I came to the conclusion that, and through the faith lens, the borrower is slave to the lender, and I can't find anywhere in Scripture it says to get a car payment, although Jesus did say they were all in one accord.
Right.
Okay. Okay. So all of that to say, there's no possible way you should ever buy a car with a car payment. I would ride a bicycle before I had a car with a car payment. And it's not forever. I'm just going to save up and pay for it. But it sounds like you have the cash to pay cash for the car you want.
We're not far off. We have about $7,000 above our emergency fund, and I would like to spend a few more months saving up the additional amount. But she's, I guess, a little anxious, doesn't want to work, or doesn't want to wait. She commutes an hour each way to work currently, and so
it's her
I
car.
can understand being anxious.
It's her
yes,
car.
Sir, her car.
What is she driving now?
She drives a 2001 Mustang right now.
How many miles on
it? Just about 200,000.
I would move up in car now. I agree with her, but I would do it with the $7,000 in cash, and then save up and do it again next year.
Okay.
So
Alrighty.
Both of you get your way. I want her to have the nicer car she wants, but I'm with you. She waits till next year to get it. In the meantime, you can move her up about 3 times as good a car as she's in now, or 4 times as good a car as she can now with that car plus $7,000.
Right. Well, honestly, I didn't think of it that way, and that's a good idea. I sure appreciate your help, Dave.
Yeah, but the big thing here is, if you get the why, that whole diatribe I went on,
Right.
If you get the why behind why you don't do car payments, then it's not a matter of if I do them, because I'm not going to do them, but how do I work around it and still accomplish some of the goals? Once I take car payments off the table, other creative answers start, like staging it, like we're talking about, start coming up on the table. But the typical person just goes, I want it, I'm going to go buy it, and then
Right.
scratch their head while they're broke their whole life because they're giving it all to stinking Ford Motor Credit, or Lexus Motor Credit, or Toyota Credit, or Chrysler Credit, or whoever credit it is. Somebody's getting credit and it isn't you, And so it's a problem. It's a real problem. But just figure out a way to work around it. I'm with her. I think she's driving a piece of crap an hour, 2 hours a day. And she's rattling along the road going, when's this thing going to leave me stranded out here? In Washington, because it kind of gets cold there in the winter. Yeah, I'm getting her a better car, or give her yours, and you drive the crap, one of the two, if you got a better car. By the way, that is federal law. Mom gets the good car. Was at our house anyway. So, but I tell you what, man, you guys, the car payment is truly the mantra of the middle class. And we have said many times on here that, the credit card, credit cards are interesting. Everybody knows credit cards suck, but everybody keeps using them. So we're at the stage with the credit card that we were with the cigarette about 1985. Everybody was disgusted with cigarettes. Everybody knew they killed you, but nobody did anything about it. But somewhere around 1985, it became like not cool at all to smoke anymore because it kills you and it's stupid and you smell bad. Same thing's true with credit card. Credit card is the cigarette of the financial world, and it's heading that direction. It just may take another decade to get completely uncool. I'm going to help. Ain't anything else to do. This is the Dave Ramsey Show. Susie is with us in Las Vegas. Hi, Susie. How are you?
Hi, good morning. How are you?
Better than I deserve. How can I help?
Well, I have a quick question. My husband and I have saved up $30,000 that we know we want to purchase a car with.
Wow.
We're looking at a Ford F-150 with that 3.5 6-liter EcoBoost. I don't know. It's my husband's thing. If it gets me from point A to point B, it's good. But if it gets him hunting, it's even better. So, what the question I have is, we have that set aside. We are going to start actually going and trying to negotiate. And I'm kind of confused. I've looked up different suggestions online, and one site says don't go on a weekend, go on a weekday. Another one will say don't tell them you're paying cash. Negotiate the price first, because a lot of times the dealerships feel like they're going to make money on the back end if they think you're going to finance. And I just want to go in, get an honest price and a good deal, and leave.
Yeah, I hear you.
I don't know what's the best deal to get to stretch my dollar the most.
What is your?
I'm sorry.
What is your all's household income?
About $100,000.
Good. And what is your net worth?
About $500,000.
Okay. And you're talking about buying a new truck?
No.
A 1-year-old or 2-year-old?
We're looking for the certified, pre-owned.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Well, the thing to do then is pull the data on the truck before you go in.
Mm-hmm.
And you need to know what the truck is worth.
We've done that. It's about $30,000 would be a good deal.
Well, but an individual truck might be different, because you're looking at a particular truck with miles on it. You're looking at a particular truck with slightly different equipment on it and that kind of a thing. And so you're in the range for sure on that truck, and it is a nice truck. So you pull up, you find a particular one at a dealership sitting there certified used, right? And you look at the exact miles and the exact equipment, and you enter that into kellybluebook.com, and maybe look at a couple of the other sites, maybe the Edmunds Car Guide, and start to get an idea, okay, this car has a retail on it of this, and you'd never pay retail, period.
Okay.
I don't pay retail, period, for a car, under no circumstances. And so let's say Kelley Blue Book on the thing, private sale is kind of middle ground, and wholesale is what they pay for the truck. That's what the dealer would pay for the truck, all right? And so you want to be somewhere between private sale and wholesale at the most. And so you go in knowing, let's say private sale is 29 on the truck and wholesale is 27 on the truck. Then you need to be somewhere north of 27 in your mind. And, maybe they got 31 on it. I don't know what they got on it. But we walk in there and we go, look, guys, this is cash. This is what I would do. This is cash. I'm going to write you a check, and I'm going to drive the truck away. And I'm really not going to stand here all day and dance with you. So if you want to do this, I'm willing to write you a check right now. This is a done deal.
Mm-hmm.
It's over. But the price is $27,500. And just start talking to them that way. And the back end on a used car is not as big as it is on a new car for them. If they finance it and sell the paper, they make some spread on it. On a new car, they make more on it than they do on the car that's selling the paper for payments. So that site's advice would be more applicable to a new car, to not tell them you're paying cash. I don't worry about that buying a used car. This is what the truck is worth, and boom. I bought a Raptor used, which is a similar truck.
I like those.
little more expensive, but a similar truck. Had 19,000 miles on it. It was sitting on a local dealer's lot. I had bought cars from that dealer before, and he knows me. And I walked in, I said, look, Kelley Blue Book is on at this. You got too much on this truck, and it's not even, it wasn't even a Ford lot that it was sitting on. And I said, look, you want the thing off the lot? I'll take it off the lot today. And that's how we started. And I got a good price on it. I didn't steal the truck. I didn't steal it, but I got a good price on it, especially compared to a brand new one because of how much that thing went down the first year, because it was only a year old when I bought it. Mm-hmm. So, but anyway, you just look at it that way. Now, if you want to steal a car, I mean, you want to get something thousands and thousands of dollars under, you're probably looking at buying from an individual or working with some kind of a car broker and buying it off the line where it's running down the wholesale line or through the auctions.
Let me ask you, when we're kind of afraid, that's why we like the certified cars, because they've already looked the engine.
I'm not worried about that. If it's a Ford and it's 1 year old, you don't have to worry about that car. It's fine. I mean, it's just not going to be a piece of junk.
The other thing is that my husband's kind of afraid to, because we were looking through like Carfax and everything when we're looking online at different cars, mm-hmm. and he was saying that rental cars that are about a year old, rental or leased cars, a lot of them are those, and he's kind of afraid about how well they were taken care of.
A rental car would be something that would be tough. I don't want a car that's been on rental unless you're looking for something different, but. You know, that car's been ragged out possibly, but a lease car is just an individual owned it, and they had it on a 1 year lease and they turned it in. Mm-hmm. That's like anybody else that was driving it. So just because it had been leased doesn't scare me. But and I wouldn't want to buy one that was a rental as a personal driver. Now I might buy it for something in a fleet, or if I was doing construction work or something where I need a farm truck or something. But this is going to be a nice driver, a nice personal driver. So, but a lease wouldn't be bad. Yeah, pull the Carfax on it. That's fine. That's fine,
and
too.
And then one more question. When it comes to purchasing like a vehicle, what are some key phrases? Or if I go on to Kelley Blue Book, can I just go on to kelleybluebook.com and it'll just all pop up?
Yeah. Yeah, you just click on private sale on that, and then run the numbers on that particular vehicle, and you begin to get a range on the vehicles you look at. And don't get married to the first one you roll up on. Mm-hmm. Oh, I love that color. Oh, you're screwed. You're going to pay too much, because as soon as you decide you're married to that car, you're getting ready to pay too much for it. It's just a car. It really is.
Is there a certain time of the year or a certain time of the month or a certain time of the week?
I wouldn't worry about it. The thing is, the question is how long they've had it on the lot. Most used car dealers will keep a car on the lot only so long, and then they'll roll it through they'll run it through the auction and wholesale it and get it off their lot. They'll turn their money over. And so I bought a Chevy 4-wheel drive that we've still got here at the office. We still use it as a delivery truck. I bought it many, many years ago, and I bought it from that guy. And I said, how long you had that thing on the lot? And he said, 90 days. I said, you're getting ready to roll it off at wholesale anyway, so sell it to me. So if they've been sitting on the truck a while, now if it's a certified, that might not be the case. But if they've been sitting on that truck a while, they may be getting ready to roll it out because they're not going to keep it on there 6 months. You're not going to see the same car sitting on the average dealer's lot 6 months. They're going to roll it and turn their money. Because that unit's not moving for them. You follow me?
Yes. Thank you. And one more question: if we choose to kind of look into the wholesale aspect of it, How do we even do that? I've never done anything like that before.
You'd have to find what's called a car broker, and there are people out there that will go to the auction for you, and you need to be careful that you find one that is that's got a good reputation and that you can check out. So make sure you really do your due diligence and learn about the person you're working with on that and the service that they're providing, and have very, very clear expectations on that. But you're buying a little bit blind there, and that you might not personally see the car. You may see pictures of it, learn all the details of it, and then it runs down the line, and you're authorizing them to bid so much on that car when it goes down the line. And they may be in a different city, miles and miles away, and then they'll ship it in. I've bought 2 or 3 that way over the years. You're probably buying this truck off a lot somewhere. The thing you just don't want to do is just don't pay too much. I doubt you're going to get it thousands and thousands of dollars under, though. But you just don't want to pay too much. You want to do your research and know that you've gotten a hold of something that's strong. Don't buy extended warranties either, by the way. This is the Dave Ramsey Show. Shelby's with us in Corpus Christi, Texas. Hi, Shelby. How are you?
Hi, Dave. Thank you for your time.
Certainly.
My question is, I'm a new grad. I just got my registered nurse, and I'm planning on going back to school today, or this year. Unfortunately, I've had car problems in the last 6 months. I have a 2006 Ford Fusion. I spent $2,500 on the car in the last 6 months.
Yuck.
And the current problems that it's having now, I'm going to have to spend another $3,000 to keep it going.
I wouldn't do that. What's the car worth? What will it sell for today?
Kelley Blue Book says $4,000.
You think you could sell it as it sits for $4,000?
No.
Okay. What can you sell it for?
Not with the problems. The dealership is offering me $2,250 if I buy a car this month.
Oh, yeah, I bet.
Yeah.
But that's not so the car's probably worth as is, probably close to $3,000 then. If you sold it yourself on Craigslist.
I might be able to get that much.
Yeah. Okay. And but it's obviously a piece of crap, so you need to get rid of it. I don't disagree with that. You have any money?
I do. Well, here's the thing. I thought the car was paid off, but with speaking to my parents, they owe $4,200 on it.
No way. So it's their car.
Well, but I don't want to give it back to them.
I know, but it's their car.
Over there. Yes, technically.
Okay, crap. And so you just graduated from nursing school? Okay. And so how much debt do you have from that?
I have no debt. I made it through it.
Yay! Good for you.
Yeah.
And so you're completely debt-free except that your parents owe money on the car that you're driving?
Yes.
Okay. How are your parents' finances?
Not good.
And what do you make a year?
When me and my fiance make 67.
Okay. I would suggest working with your parents to get this car sold. And I don't know what that means. It probably means you guys somebody's going to write a check to get rid of it, is what it sounds like, right?
Yeah, I don't think they're in the position to do that.
Okay, so it sounds like you're going to come up with $1,000 to sell this car.
Yes.
Okay, and then you're going to have no money, right?
Well, I have $6,000 that I can make as a down payment.
Awesome. No, you don't need a down payment. You don't need a car payment. You didn't call Dave Ramsey and ask to go into car debt, did you?
Well,
good. I'm glad you
car,
didn't.
And I want a reliable one, but can I get a reliable car for $6,000?
Oh, absolutely. It's not 6 anymore. It's 5 because you got to pay to get out of this parents' mess.
Yes.
So you got a $5,000 car. Yeah, you can get a decent car for $5,000 because you're not driving this thing for 10 years.
No,
you're going to drive it until you save up some more money because you don't have a car payment and buy a better car.
Correct.
So how much car payment were you thinking of doing before you called me?
$500 a month.
Good Lord. Okay. And so if you did let's just pretend for a second. Let's say you wrote $1,000 check and you sold the piece of crap car of your parents and got them out of their mess, okay?
Okay.
In other words, we got $3,200 or $3,000 for it or whatever. That leaves you about $5,000 to buy a car. You buy a $5,000 car, and you pay yourself $500 a month for 10 months. Pay yourself a car payment.
Okay.
That'd be another $5,000, wouldn't it?
It would.
10 months from now, buy another car with $5,000 cash and the trade of your $5,000 car. That's a $10,000 car. Now we're getting into a pretty good car, and that's only 10 months away. In the meantime, you drive a $5,000 car.
Okay.
And pay yourself a car payment, and you don't go into debt for a car ever if you want to build wealth.
Okay. I guess my only concern was with spending $6,000 is that I would get a hunk of junk.
You could.
And have the same problems where I'm spending almost as much as the car is worth.
You could. And you don't want to get into what you got into there. That was a piece of garbage you got into there. But how long have you been driving? How long have you been driving this car?
3 years.
Okay. See, I'm talking about 10 months.
That I would just drive this
$5,000 car.
$5,000 car.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you pay yourself $500 for 10 months, and then you sell your $5,000 car, put $5,000 cash with that, and that's a $10,000 car. Are you with me?
Yes.
By the way, if 10 months later you want to move to a $15,000 car, I'm okay with that.
Okay, so put down $10,000 and then pay off $5,000 is what you're saying?
I'm so confused. Okay, let's try again real quick. I got about 20 seconds. I want you to buy a $5,000 car with no car payments. And for the next 10 months, I want you to pay yourself $500 a month into a cookie jar. In that cookie jar, you will magically have $5,000, 10 times 500.
Right.
You take that $5,000, you sell your $5,000 car at the end of 10 months, and with that two together, you buy a $10,000 car. Our last call before the break was a guy that was in a couple of car leases. We call them fleeces. And if you don't know what that means, that means you're not from the country. If you have a sheep and you take off its hair, it's called fleecing. And if you are to fleece someone, it means to rip someone off. It's old-fashioned terminology. So if I got fleeced, means I got ripped off. So we don't call them car leases. We call them fleeces. And Robert is on Twitter. He says, I listen to you every day. Can you discuss leasing a car as opposed to buying? Yes, I can discuss fleecing. Now, let's just set this up for a second. Let's pretend that you owned a car manufacturing company and you were going to manufacture a vehicle. And you had a car that you were going to sell for $20,000. And 4 years later, it was going to be worth 70% less, or it was going to lose about $14,000 of its value. And so that $20,000 vehicle 4 years from now would be worth $6,000. That would be the average, by the way. A new car loses 60 to 70% of its value in the first 4 years. It just comes off the lot. And so instead of selling it for $20,000 and the individual that's driving it loses the $14,000, instead you're going to rent it to the individual that's driving it. And at the end of the car lease, you're going to not get a $20,000 car back. You're going to get a car back that's worth $6,000. Well, in order to keep from losing the money, you would have to rent the car monthly to that individual for more than that monthly amount of loss. And so if we just took $14,000 and we just, in our example, and we said that happened over 48 months, that would be $291.67 that the car is going to lose in value in our projection. Now, you and I, you own a car manufacturing company. And so you're going to rent a car to someone that's going to lose $291 a month in value. And so it stands to reason that you're going to rent the car to them for more than $291, right? Because you at least have to cover how much it goes down in value in the payment, in the rent payment. Does that make sense? Of course it makes sense. Then the other thing you know is that if you own a car manufacturing company, you probably also have a financing arm to your car manufacturing company. And if you were in the car manufacturing business and you had General Motors credit or Ford Motor credit or Lexus credit, you would know that you make more on the financing when someone uses your financing company and pays you interest to borrow money from you, that you make more on that than you do on the actual profit on the sale of the car. And so you also are in the finance business, the banking business, the car payment business, and you make a good profit on that. And so if you rent this car to someone, they're not going to be paying you interest. So you're going to lose out on the car payment business side of your equation. And so not only would you want to collect $291 plus a profit, you'd also want to collect interest on the $20,000 that basically they're driving around your $20,000 bill right here, right? I mean, you gave somebody $21,000 bills, and they're carrying them around for 4 years. So you'd want to charge them interest on that, wouldn't you? And so you would take the drop in value monthly. You would take a interest rate, which in the leasing business is called cost of capital, an interest rate, and you would take a profit. And you would put all of those things into what is now a new payment, and then you can go rent a new car for a lease a new car. Rent. It is renting, isn't it? So when you rent a car, when you lease a car, you are paying the loss in value monthly. You're paying the profit, and you're paying an interest rate, the cost of capital. The only thing is the interest rate's not disclosed to you because this is not technically a loan, and so the Federal Trade Commission disclosure sheets that you get on a loan are not there because you're technically just renting. And so when you rent at Hertz, you don't have to get a disclosure on the cost of capital. And when you lease from Lexus or BMW, you don't have to get a cost of capital. So unless you're pretty good with a calculator, you really don't know what your cost of capital is. You don't know what interest rate you're paying. I'm pretty good with a calculator, though. And a lot of other people are, too, that have done research on this. And we're finding that the average car fleece out there is charging you an effective interest rate of cost of capital around 14%. So you're paying around 14% interest. Plus you're paying the loss in value, the depreciation, plus you're paying a profit. And if you go over on your miles, they're going to charge you more. And if there's more than normal wear and tear on the car, they're going to charge you more. Because if you bring me back a $6,000 car that's dinged up and got a bunch of miles, so it's really only worth $5,000, I'm going to charge you the other $1,000 if I'm the car manufacturer. Because my goal here is not to lose money. My goal is to make money. And so there's no possible mathematical way, unless the car manufacturer made a mistake, that leasing a car is cheaper than owning a car. By definition, it has to be more expensive, or you have a car manufacturer that's what's known as stupid. And let me tell you, those guys are a lot of things, but stupid is not on the list. Most car manufacturers these days make a really fine vehicle. I drove one of the new Fords as a rental this weekend, an Expedition, and it was an incredible car. The technology it's absolutely incredible. The new BMWs, the new Mercedes, the new Chevrolets, they're absolutely phenomenal. The new Lexus, they're phenomenal. The cars that we are putting out in America and around the world right now are absolutely incredible vehicles. They're excellent at manufacturing really good cars. I mean, compared to, I've got an old Corvette from 1979 model. They don't make them like they used to. Well, thank God. I mean, it's kind of cool, but let me tell you, compared to the new Corvette, it's a piece of crap. These are fine vehicles these manufacturers are creating. You work for a car company, you should be proud of the product you're putting out. These Nissans are really good cars. They're also very good at crunching numbers and math. And they're 100% sure they're going to make money on your butt as the consumer. So let me tell you about fleecing a car. 100% of the time, it's more expensive than owning the car. It has to be by definition. It has to be by definition.
Okay, you guys, I want you to remember the purpose of a car is to get you from A to B. And as tempting as it is to hit the road in a car that you can't afford, it's more than likely going to be a burden than a blessing, especially if it's not in your budgets. And it's just not worth it. Make sure to catch the next episode where we're looking at Dave's teaching on investing. Dave even breaks down his own investing process in one of the clips. So make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss it.
Yeah, so I am a 23-year-old college student majoring in finance and economics. Considered a homeless student, and I was raised by a single mother and breaking a lot of family curses and a lot of first-generation college student. And that is all to say, I want to create financial freedom for myself, and I believe I have the right mindset of doing so. And this pertains to my question of me being a believer in God, and how do I handle the comments people make, not necessarily financially saying that I can never get there, but why should I in the first place? Like, why would I want to? The mindset of being financially free, and they say, Jesus says it's easier for the camel to go through the eye of a needle than for someone who is rich to make it to heaven, which is true, but they pretty much make it seem I'm evil or am doomed given I want to be wealthy. And, I know being wealthy requires intent, so I have to stay focused, but it's starting to mess with my mindset of is this wrong? Because I value Jesus and I want to do the right thing.
Who are the they that are saying these things to you?
Just people come in contact with, whether it's even family or.
Well, honey, you're going to come in contact with ignorant people your whole life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wanted to know,
Okay, I don't mind answering it for you, but we can't fix their biblical illiteracy.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? So for instance, I can take that scripture and let's talk it through, okay? So that comes from the story of the rich young ruler who came to Jesus, and he said, Master, I want to follow you. And Jesus said, go and sell all that you have and serve the poor, and then you can follow me. And the story says he went away with his head hung low, because he was very wealthy and he didn't want to sell his stuff to follow Jesus. And Jesus turned to the disciples and said, it is easy. I tell you, it's easier for a camel to get through the eye of a needle than it is for a rich man to get into heaven. Okay? And the disciples, if you keep reading, were greatly amazed. They were blown away by that statement because it was believed in those times that wealthy people could buy their way into heaven. And so the disciples said, who then, Master, can be saved? And Jesus said, no one can be saved. No one comes to the Father except through the Son. Meaning that this is a teaching on grace through the cross of Christ. It is not a teaching about wealthy people not going to heaven. Wealthy people don't go to heaven, nor do poor people go to heaven, except through the Father, through the Son that gave his life on the cross. That's the teaching that Jesus was doing there. So what you have here is someone who's doing Twitter, or worse than that, TikTok doctrine, meaning they've abbreviated it and didn't follow through and read the whole thing, so they don't know what the flip they're talking about, because it's not what the Bible is saying, nor was it what Jesus was saying. He wasn't saying you can't get to heaven because you're wealthy. He was saying that young man didn't go to heaven because he wouldn't follow Christ, not because he wouldn't sell his stuff. But Jesus looked into his heart and said, you have an idol in your heart, and you have something between me and you, and it's your stuff. And so if you worship stuff, you have a problem. That's not a Christian act. Christians aren't supposed to have idols. As a matter of fact, most of us that are believers actually believe that we don't own anything. We're managing all of it for God, and part of our management is to take care of our own household first, or we're worse than an unbeliever, right? So this is someone who didn't finish reading, and because they grew up poor and they heard poor stuff, and somebody told them in a poor church somewhere that being poor is somehow holy. Poor is not holy. Rich is not holy. Holy is holy. And this is somebody that's jealous and small-minded and so forth, because they don't deal with scriptures like Deuteronomy 18 that says, "And you shall remember the Lord your God, for it is he who gives you the power to get wealth." Why would it say in the Bible that God gives you the power to get wealth and then say you can't get to heaven after you did that? That would be inconsistent. But it's not inconsistent because that isn't what Jesus was saying. And he didn't say that money is the root of all evil, did he? You know, Alicia, he said that the love of money is the root of all evil. And so this is a form of heresy. It's called Gnosticism that has invaded the poor mouth American Christian. And here's the real problem with it. It's actually so statistically off that it's astronomically bad. So those people, if you were to ask them that made those ridiculous statements, okay, if you were to ask them, so you're saying the people with the top 1% of income in the world would be named wealthy? Yes. And you would be saying those people aren't going to heaven? Yes. Well, here's a startling number for you. If you make $30,000 a year, you're in the top 1% of income earners in the world. So you're going to hell based on that ridiculous doctrine that is so biblically illiterate. Okay? And so that, but you can't convince those people of that. But this is how, once you understand that, then this gives you permission to go be the winner that you're planning to be without guilt. Now, I don't want you to worship money, and I don't want you to be a greedy jerk. I always want you to be generous. Those will be Christian activities. I want you to put others first. I want you to be thoughtful. I want you to be managing all of this money in a way that makes God smile and that takes care of your family and takes care of your community. But guess what? Poor people don't feed hungry children. Rich people are the ones that feed them. You know who's getting people out of Haiti right now? Rich people. That's who's getting the orphans. I was with a friend this week, and they dropped some serious money getting 15 orphans out of a cave to keep those gangs from raping them and turning them into sex traffic. It wasn't poor people did that. These rich guys chartered a freaking helicopter with some ex-special forces guys, went in and got 15 kids out. That won't be on the news, but rich guys that are in America did that are Christians. Poor people didn't do that crap. I'm just telling you. So this is what you do when you get some money. You serve the poor. You take care of people that are hurting. You lift people up. But you can't do that when you're freaking broke. This is how stupid this doctrine is. This wrong, toxic version. It makes me angry. Can you tell?
Yeah. I wanted to give you the slow clap, but it's not appropriate. It was so good.
Hey, Lisa, I'm going to send you a copy of the book I did on this subject. It's called The Legacy Journey. And it's got a whole bunch of these things in there that I just outlined for you, and it'll help you give you permission to win. But what you've got to do is you have to be careful who you let have your ear. Don't let these people speak into your ear. Like you said, you're breaking generational curses. And, I grew up in a neighborhood where people said stuff like, little man can't get ahead. The rich man always holds the little man down. And if you believe that crap, you're always going to be a little man. But I grew up in that neighborhood, and I'm so stupid I had to become a millionaire twice. So I had to do it 2 times just to prove it could be done, I guess. So you're a rock star, kiddo. You're amazing, and don't let anyone tell you shouldn't or couldn't or won't win. Go win. Create your free every dollar budget today, the simplest way to budget for your life. What kind of a condition would your life have to be in to never worry about money again? What's interesting is it's not an amount of money that causes that. The Bible says godliness with contentment is great gain. How would you be content? Well, if your money was completely out of control, you're deeply in debt, and you were content, that would make you psychotic. Stupid. You shouldn't be content if everything's torn up. But godliness with contentment is great gain. And so what it amounts to is not that everything is perfect, but it's that we have a plan and we are working towards a series of wise decisions, through a series of wise decisions, to get control of our money. So contentment is a journey. Financial success is a journey. It's not an amount. Now, we talk a lot about millionaires around here, millionaire status, but, I mean, truthfully, $1 million is not a lot of money anymore. I mean, it'll create, $80,000 a year income or something if you made 8% on it, right? But that's just, that's not like rich anymore. It's a whole lot more than most people got, okay? But, I mean, you really want to aim higher than that even. So if you have a game plan and your game like a budget, and you know that this month you're going to get to eat, this month the lights are paid, this month we're moving towards, through our baby steps, getting rid of debt, or we're building our emergency fund, or we're investing for our kids' college and our retirement towards paying off a house, or this month, whatever. As long as you can see that you're moving in the right direction and this month is taken care of, there's a sense of power there, empowerment, using an 80s term. Feel empowered. You empower people. That was an 80s term, right? But you're empowered. And that's, you should be content in the middle of that. Now, contentment does not mean apathy, and contentment does not mean lazy. Contentment is not a hound dog laying in the sun on the front porch. He is content, but he's also lazy. I'm very content, but I work my butt off. It has nothing to do with activity level. It has nothing to do with ambition. Contentment is a spiritual condition. And when it comes to your finances, being content, never worrying about money again, is not an amount of money. You'll never get enough money to not worry about it again. Or you could get $10 billion and you'd still be wringing your hands and worried if you were out of control. If you didn't have a plan, if you didn't have a series of wise principles that you use for making your decisions with. That's why you don't hear me use the phrase financial independence. A lot of people in the financial world use that. You can become financially independent. I'm not really mad about it or anything, but I just don't think you ever do. What are you independent of? People? Well, you're always going to have to interact with people. I mean, you can still get sued for something maybe you didn't even do. You're not independent ever. There's never enough money to where you just absolutely are above the rules. You're above common sense. You're above the use of wisdom. And now, if financial independence means you can pay your bills, if that's what it means to you, then okay. If financial independence means you can retire with dignity, then okay, we can aim at that. But the phrase itself is a little bit strong for me. Independence. I'm not really trying to be independent. I want to be dependent on my spouse. I want to be looking at my grandbabies saying, I am working to change your life and your children and your grandchildren's life. I'm not independent. I'm not, that kind of sounds selfish when you say it. Financial independence, it sounds selfish. Maybe it's not, and maybe I know that's not what everybody means when they say it, so I'm not picking on you if you use that phrase, but financial independence is not my goal. It's not my goal. And so I will never stop earning money and growing wealth. How much is enough? At some point, shouldn't you just stop? No. The more I've got, the more I can give. I have a gift. I have an ability to earn money beyond my wildest dreams. So why would I stop? Besides that, I didn't earn the money hurting someone. Every time I earn $1, it's helped somebody. If I sell a couple million books and make $1 a piece, that's a couple $1 million, right? And a couple million people got helped with the information in that book. So I think it's probably all working out for everybody. Except for some of you that are left-wing nut jobs. But, I mean, you can't figure this out anyway, so we're not talking to you. But the point is, you never worry about money again. Sometimes we think that that's an amount. When I was young, I used to think if I just had $1 million, it was an amount. If I hit this amount, I'll never have to worry about money again. If I hit $1 million, I wouldn't have to worry. If I had $1 million cash, worry less? Yeah. Yeah, if you had $1 billion, you'd worry less than if you had $2. I got that. Because you don't have to worry about food. You don't have to worry about, a place to live, the basics of life, right? So it is less, but you never really become independent. Nor should you really want to, I think. I'm very dependent on God, the provider of this that he gave me to manage. But what would it be like to be on such a plan and have the wisdom principles in place by which you operated your finances that allowed you to not worry anymore? Not only were this month's necessities taken care of, but we're starting to look into the future, enjoy today, and have a future that is bright. Well, that requires a plan. Financial Peace University is that plan. It's the only place that we have where we put everything together, and almost 5 million people have been through it, to show you the wisdom principles and go, this is what happens if you're wise. These are the steps you do. This is what you do. This is how you get at it. And you can do that. You can do it. So it's a 1-year membership. All the videos are online. The audios are online. Everything you can get a hold of for a whole year. You can get every dollar plus tied to your bank account for a year. So you've got everything lined up that way. And you can go to the 9-week class anytime during that year you want to. And we're going to give you the kit to go to the class with as well. People going through the class are paying off $5,300 worth of debt, saving $2,700 in the first 90 days. That's an $8,000 turnaround. We'll show you the wisdom principles so you don't have to worry anymore. Now, you're not going to be rich at the end of 9 weeks or the end of 1 year. Most of you aren't. But you're starting a journey, a permanent decision to not operate my life by stupid principles anymore and instead operate them by wisdom principles. And you can do that in any area of your life. You can decide, our parenting, we don't know what we're doing. We're raising a couple of wolves here. I got to change how we're parenting this. And you can get with somebody, get information, get wisdom principles, like Meg Meeker was on here yesterday with me, and you can learn wisdom principles on parenting. And you don't just apply them for 1 month. You apply them as long as you're alive. Because wisdom principles will take you through the different ages. When your children are grown and have grandkids, I'm still Papa Dave. I was still with all of them the other night. I'm still Papa Dave. Wisdom principles apply. These scriptural principles give you guidelines to operate your life, and you don't have to worry anymore. Because you got a process you're engaging in. It's powerful, you guys. It's a powerful thought. You're not independent. You're plugged in. This is the Dave Ramsey Show. Ryan starts off this hour in San Antonio. Hey, Ryan, how are you?
My new favorite saying, better than I deserve. How are you, Dave?
Just the same, sir. How can I help?
Good deal. I have a question here for you. I just found your show about 2 weeks ago, and to give you a little background, I was in about $60,000 in debt after college. I graduated May 2017. And I was making dumb choices. I was still making child choices. I was doing what was feeling good. And so I decided to take a job out of state and move to Texas, where I could be away from distractions, and I just wanted to knock out all of the debt. So I also own a small IT business, and that business is cash flow positive. I bring in about an extra $5,000 a month with it now, and I work a full-time salary job. Now, all of my credit card debt has been completely paid off, and I was previously saving up for a house until I found your show. And I had about $25,000 saved up there, and I've been investing and playing in the stock market with about $10,000. Mm-hmm. I took the $25,000 and I split it between my student loans and my card note. Mm-hmm. So but I still have the 10 grand, and I'm having a hard time taking that out and taking away my contributions to my 401k because my returns are better than my interest rates. Mm-hmm. Do you think that is still the wrong move to be making? Mm-hmm. With that 10 grand, I usually, it's been growing progressively. It's at 10 grand now but the risk is a lot higher, but I'm averaging about 10 to 14% a month on that. Mm-hmm. And my 401k is averaging about 9% a month right now. And my student loans have a 4% interest rate.
I think you mean a year. I don't think your 401k is making 9% a month.
Oh, I'm sorry, a year. Yeah, I am sorry about that.
That's okay. I thought I knew what you meant. Okay. So what is your income? Total. What do you want to make in a year? What do you make in the coming year? No, your household income. What are you going to pay taxes on in the coming year? You got $5,000 from the tech business, and you get your salary.
About $130,000 before tax.
How old are you?
I'm 25.
Good. And how much debt do you have?
I owe $10,000 more on my car and $15,000 on student loans. Okay. 0 credit card.
Okay. So here's the question that I think you're asking. And let's see if I'm correct. When you're 35, which way will cause you to have the most money? Investing in your 401k now and getting out of debt slower and continuing your stock market game that you're playing, or stopping all of that temporarily and knocking the debt out, freeing up the cash because you have no payments at all, using that money to invest. Which one of those two ways will cause you to be the wealthiest at 35? The answer to the question is stopping the investing.
No.
Is that logical to you?
I mean, it is logical
to
me.
So the thing is, here's what happens. Okay, let me stop you, okay? I just tricked you, okay? Let me tell you what I did. I made you think long-term when I told you 35 years old. When you're presenting your case to me, you're thinking short-term. When you think long-term, your brain allows you to factor in risk. When you're comparing a 10 or a 12% rate of return to a 5 or a 10% interest rate on a loan, you're not taking into consideration risk and the slowing down of your life and everything else. Here's what happens with your life, any part of our life, mine too. What you concentrate on is what you win at. No one wakes up one morning and goes, I've never run a mile in my life. I'm going to run a marathon tomorrow. No, they get up and they train and they train and they train and they work a system and they work a process and they do the nutrition and they do the miles and they wear out shoes and they run and they run and they run. And then they're not surprised when they are able to complete a marathon and check that off a bucket list. When you're dating someone that you end up getting married to, you're unbelievably focused on that person to the exclusion of everything else, to the point your friends are sick of you, because you're focused on that one person. And that's called courting in the old days, and it causes people to get married. If you do not focus on her to the exclusion of everything else, she likely will not marry you. Very few people just, love hanging out with people that don't focus on them. So, what you focus on your career, you win at. When you focus on nutrition, your body is in better condition. When you focus on nutrition and exercise, your body's in a lot better condition, and so on. And this is true here. So when you focus on getting out of debt to the exclusion of other things, on a temporary basis, you will hit that goal faster, more likely, and will then be positioned to build wealth. So all of that's a big, long, drawn-out answer to say, stop your 401k, shut down your stupid investment plan with your stock. You're going to lose your butt on that. And pay off your car today. And then don't take money out of the 401k, but stop adding to it. And by this time next year, you're going to have an emergency fund in place of 3 to 6 months of expenses. You'll be 100% debt free. You'll be saving towards your house, and you can restart your 401k. Probably won't even take that long. You're 25. You make $125,000 a year. Stop doing a bunch of crap and pay off the debt. You only got $25,000 in debt, and you got $10,000 of it in that one stock account. So we're down to 15. I mean, you ought to be debt-free in 20 minutes here, it feels like. Really, focus on it. Don't try to do 6 things at once and do none of them well. And that's why we've had so much success, Ryan, helping people build wealth. because we first get them out of debt, and your most powerful wealth building tool is your income. It's not the spread of your investments over your debt interest rate. As I've interviewed millionaires, I never interview millionaires, and they say, Dave, the way I made my money was I borrowed as much as I could at 5%, and I invested it at 12%. I never hear any millionaires say that. I mean, never. Never. They say, I got out of debt, and when I didn't have any debt payments, I maxed out my 401k. Oh, and then I turned around and paid off my house, too, in 10.2 years. That's the average time a millionaire pays off their house. 10.2 years. And with no payments at all, ding, ding. We start ringing the bell, and we become debt-free, and we start building wealth. Let me just rewind back to last spring. I told you that before the midterms that Biden would announce some kind of debt forgiveness program just in time to influence the midterms. And that when you looked into the details of the program, you would see that it didn't amount to much, but that they would make a big splash like they had really done something. And they did exactly that. And everyone's talking about Biden forgiving the student loans right up into the midterms. And you notice no one's talked about it since the election. And he came out real quietly this week and said, well, we're going to suspend the forgiveness program until the court rules on it, because the Sixth Circuit Court has now put a permanent stay on it until there's an actual court case involved. It's no longer a temporary stay. They've just put the quietus on this thing and the debt forgiveness program. So, yeah.
Yeah, Dave, as I was reading this last night, I had the thought, how did Dave know? Like, you have called it at every stop along the way. So,
it's what I would have done if I were a politician with no principles. It's exactly what I would have done, because it was logical. It makes sense. Yeah. It was a very shrewd political move. No intention whatsoever, no expectation whatsoever that the loans would actually ever be forgiven. Did not notify the Department of Education. Did not notify student. Studentaid.gov. What's it called?
Studentaid.gov.
Studentaid.gov. Major part of the administration's function to forgive the student loans. You didn't even tell them ahead of time. I mean, if you're going to roll out a program that's going to affect tens of millions of people, you've got to get your staff ready for this. No notice to them whatsoever, and then announces it. And that tells us right there that, you didn't think it was going to go through.
I think it's just hard to believe that, these are real people's lives. This is, a generation learning to relate to money and learning responsibility with money. And to think that they could just, have all this confusion and kind of be played with as a political pawn.
Just be manipulated by politicians. You're so sweet. You never thought that would happen.
I didn't want to believe it would happen, Dave.
It's happening. Yeah, and so federal student loan bills have been scheduled to resume in January. Of course, they're going to have trouble getting through a House that is now majority Republican. It's not going to happen. So, and of course, then he gets the next shrewd move is, watch this, it's going to, I tried to do it, but the mean old Republicans wouldn't let me. That's coming next. That's the thing. So Biden administration on Tuesday announced it will extend the payment pause, because it is the one thing they can do, on federal student loans until after June, because you should never have to pay your bills because there's inflation that I caused. That isn't what they said, was it? Okay, no, that wasn't what they said. Top official at the Education Department recently said student loan default rates could dramatically spike if its loan forgiveness program is thwarted. You think? Yeah, there ain't nobody paying these things. So the way we're not going to admit that this head fake on the forgiveness thing caused everybody to stop paying, we're just going to not make you pay until June so that it doesn't show up. And by then you'll forget that the reason the student loan default rates went way up was because we told everybody we were going to forgive them and then we didn't. Oh, that's that. Yeah, ouch. Nice moves. Nice moves. So what does all this tell you?
Man, it's been interesting. It's confusing. That's what it really tells you right now. It's kind of unfair and confusing. I actually asked a question on Instagram last night, just trying to get people's feelings on it. And the range is so wide. it's what was most interesting to me is even people with student loans who are paying off student loans are starting to get frustrated. They're like, just give us clear guidance. Let us know what to expect. This back and forth, it's going to be forgiven. And wait, all of this is just so confusing and people are getting really frustrated.
Oh, I didn't see this. I just saw it in the article. I thought they were extending the payment because economic times are so bad. No. The Education Secretary, Cardona, says in a statement, we're extending the payment pause because it would be deeply unfair to ask borrowers to pay a debt that they wouldn't have to pay if it wasn't for the baseless lawsuits brought by Republicans. I told you they were going to blame them. Yeah, we're gonna just not make you pay payments because the mean old Republicans are not going to let us do the forgiveness thing. That's what she just said.
Dang. Ouch.
Ding, 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 ding. Okay, moral of the story is this. If you wait on this clown show,
yep,
both sides of the aisles together, you couldn't make a good circus if you mixed the whole thing in a stew pot. Okay? If you wait on this clown show, if you wait on the island of misfit toys, it's called Washington, D.C. to fix your life is always going to suck. If you're waiting on a government program to make your life shiny, your life's going to suck. It's not their job. It's not within their power to make your life awesome. It is within your power.
Absolutely.
And so here's a plan. You took out the loan. Pay it back. You owe it. I don't owe it. I didn't take it out, and I'm a taxpayer, and I shouldn't have to pay your loan. A guy who is a welder and didn't go to college and makes $85,000 a year and works 60 hours a week, and he's out there in sub-zero temperature somewhere in North America right now welding a building together for you to sit your little butt in, shouldn't have to pay your student loan. That's not fair.
Wow, mic drop.
Something to think about.
But I will say, if you have student loans right now and you hear this wake-up call and you're going, man, I don't want to wait on Washington. I hate this feeling of confusion. And you want to get ready to just attack these loans, this is a great time to do it. This pause means
there's no interest.
There's no interest.
Pile on.
This
is not the time to not pay. It's the time to pay.
Exactly. They gave you more time interest-free. This is a blessing in that regard. You have time without interest accruing to pay off these student loans.
Yep.
Well, so thanks for taking my call. My wife and I are in baby steps 4, 5, and 6, and we're planning on selling our current home and buying a new one this fall. The issue is that my mother-in-law just got her real estate license, and my wife wants her to be our realtor. I'm not comfortable with that because she's brand new with no experience selling homes, and I feel like this is too big of a transaction to mix family with business, but my wife is afraid it will cause a rift with her mom if we don't use her. I'd like your advice on how to navigate this wisely and lovingly, both financially and relationally.
Wow, you're screwed.
So true. This is a Hail Mary right here.
I have no idea, man. That's an absolute lose-lose scenario. Oh, man.
Did your wife already kind of hint or go so far as to promise that you guys would use the mother-in-law?
No, we haven't talked to her about it yet.
Are you sure?
We're trying to come to terms together. Yes, I'm sure. We're trying to come to terms together before we even start talking about buying a new house.
What a great, very healthy marriage. Thank you. That's good.
Thank you.
That's the only shot you've got at this working.
And your wife's on the same page with you. She doesn't want to.
No, she wants to use the mothership.
Yep, she wants to.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah, but she wants to use it because she doesn't want conflict, not because she thinks she's the best realtor.
Yes, I think so.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
That would be my guess. That'd be logical. I mean,
yep.
I don't think your wife thinks her mother is the best real estate agent out there. She just got her license. Your wife's not unintelligent. I mean, so it must be because she wants to avoid conflict.
Mm-hmm.
And she knows her mother is a travel agent for guilt trips potentially. Okay.
Did she have a good broker above her? Like, is she with a good real estate agency?
So she just got on with a local real estate agency, and she's a property manager, just doing rental houses for a couple houses, I think. But she was a part of a team, and she no longer is. The team leader left the company, but she hasn't tried to
be on a different team so far that I know.
Is it a legit local? Are they successful, or have you never heard of them?
I had never heard of them before, but I believe they are legit. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I mean, Ken's sniffing around the edge is something that might work if you tried to talk to her about involving a co-listing with a stud in the office that knows their stuff. That might at least get you good, get you proper, thing. But her listing it by herself is, it's an either or. Neither one of these choices are good. I mean, she's either going to be angry because,
yeah,
I don't know, man. I don't think there's a magic wand here. Number one, I would do what you're doing is don't do anything until you and your wife are in solid agreement.
Okay.
And when Sharon and I have had something this sensitive, and dude, this is very sensitive. We have a tendency to write it out when we go, okay, we're not doing this, and here's the steps we're going to take, or we are doing this, and here's the steps we're going to take. Okay. Because what happens is it's so emotional, especially for your wife because it's her mom, that if you don't write it down, I forget what I said, and Sharon does too. And then you get 3 steps down into what you thought you were doing, and you go, that isn't. Oh, yeah, it is. It's what we said. Oh, no, it's not. Yeah, it is. And we get into that who shot thing. And so we'll write it down and just say, okay, here's our plan of action. I can hold my nose and agree to the painful parts of this if we're going to go this route. So an example of that might be, okay, we can go with your mom, but only if she involves someone inside the office that's also on the listing that is a high producer. Okay? And only if we try this for 90 days, and if after 90 days we're not getting good results, we agree to change agents.
Okay.
That would be a way. That would be a compromise you could do. Okay.
Right.
If you went the other way, you'd have to just say, okay, if we're not going to use her, then who's going to talk to her? How are we going to do this? And what are we going to try? Who else can we involve? Is your wife's dad? Are they still married?
No.
Okay.
No, they're divorced. Yeah.
Okay. Is there a just drawing? I'm just pulling things out of the air here. Does your mother-in-law and you guys happen to go to the same church?
No.
Okay.
She doesn't go to church with us.
Okay.
No.
Okay. Because I would like to involve a pastor if I was going to tell her no. If I was going to tell her no, and let someone throw cold water on all the emotions. In other words, a mediator, if you will. That's what I was looking for there. Because this is not going to go well if you tell her no. I mean, I just cannot imagine a scenario where she goes, "Oh, I completely understand." I doubt it. I doubt it.
That's right. I'll step in and say I like where Dave's going here, and the reason I was asking all those questions, Dave's right, is if she's with a reputable firm, they stand to win if she sells the house, and if she has some mentorship on this deal, and I think
if she won't do that, that gives me an out. I'll tell her no.
I agree. I think that creates a thing for your wife, because your wife's got to be the one on this. By the way, your wife's also got to agree to this. That if we do 90 days and mom doesn't sell it, she's got to be the one that fires her mom. And
mom's got to know up front, we're going to try 90 days.
All of us.
I would sit down after we get the initial out of the way. I would sit down, the 3 of you, and you can sit there and you can talk as much or as little at that point. Normally, your wife needs to carry this because it's her mom. But but I would just say, listen, I want everybody to be in agreement here because I don't want us to lose a relationship over a house. House deal. It's not even a house. It's our house. It's not your house. Over 6% commission. I don't want us to lose a relationship. A 3% commission, because you're going to be splitting it with somebody. For God's sakes, I don't want us to lose a relationship over that. So we're going to be in agreement that the other mentor is going to be helpful, and we're going to get the house sold in 90 days. And if not, you're going to be in agreement, Mom, that you're not going to be upset with us because we're going to try someone else at that point. But we don't really want to do this. The only reason we would do this is to try to help you get started in the business and because you're here. But you're not entitled to this. And I'm going to set the table where the exit ramp is clear. And Mom, if you can't agree that we're going to change agents in 90 days, and Mom, if you can't agree that the other person is going to be involved to help you in this, then we're not going to be able to go forward, because we would not list our home with a new agent in any circumstances otherwise.
Right.
We wouldn't even be considering this if it wasn't you.
Exactly.
And I would say all of that out loud. And if you get a negative reaction where she bows up and acts entitled anywhere in that, I'm going to pull the plug on her and let her be mad, because you're not dealing with a reasonable human then. You're dealing with somebody that's entitled. And yeah, and there's drama in the real estate business all the time. It's just part of that deal. Wow, dude, that's a tightrope right there. Thin ice, brother. Thin ice, and you call me with it. This is The Ramsey Show. Create your free every dollar budget today, the simplest way to budget for your life.
Hey, I have a question about a real estate deal that I did with one of my friends.
Okay.
All right, so I gave him $9,000 back in September, and then he was supposed to sell the house. It was part of a down payment for a house that he bought. And he was supposed to pay me back by January 4th, or I gave him $8,000 in September. He was supposed to give me $14,000 back in January. And then he showed me a picture of the bank account with all of the money. Then I gave him $1,000 more, and he bought another house. He did a 1035 exchange to another house. And then he was supposed to pay me back, I think, $25,000. Plus some extra for the taxes, and that was supposed to be due in April. He's given me $2,500 back out of the, right now, as of now, he owes me $29,500. I have it all in contract and in writing, and today's the date. I actually made a new contract last month and said that he owes me the full amount, $29,500, by August 5th, which is today. And if he doesn't pay me back that, then he has to pay for all the court fees, attorney fees, and $1,000 extra per month in interest.
Okay. Why has he not paid you?
I don't know. I mean,
did the house sell?
No, he said it. He always says that it's going to sell.
The house hasn't sold, so he doesn't have any money.
Yeah.
Do you think contracts magically make him have money?
No.
He doesn't have any money. That's why he's borrowing from someone like you.
Yeah.
Have you seen the properties?
Yes, I have.
Okay.
And right now...
So the first one sold, right?
He said it did, but it didn't.
Okay. Was the first one ever rented?
Did he ever rent it out?
Yes. Did it ever have rental income?
No.
Then it is not involved in a 1031. Only income producing property can be in a 1031. Flips do not qualify for a 1031. So he didn't, and besides that, if it didn't sell, he can't roll it into the other house. So that 1031 tax deferred exchange did not occur. Okay. So basically he owns two houses right now, neither one of which have sold.
Yeah.
And how old are you?
23.
And how old is he?
Maybe 30-ish.
Okay. And why did you think this was going to work?
I mean, I was skeptical of it. I mean, I had the contract, so I wasn't too worried about losing the money.
Okay. Well, you're learning a very harsh lesson that I learned early in business, and that is that contracts don't make bad deals good. Contracts are simply pieces of paper that say what happens when everything blows up and melts down. They don't make bad people good, and they don't make bad deals good, and they don't make money appear on the scene that's not there. But I have a contract is never a defense for getting into a really stupid deal. So you might end up spending $30,000. So the other house, you probably lost your money. But anyway, let's play it through. The current property that we're waiting on both of them to sell, right?
Yes, sir.
Do either one of them have $29,000 worth of equity?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I guess if I were in your shoes, I would try this. I think this will be much more successful than suing on a contract, because that's a 3-year process. It's going to cost you $15,000, $20,000 in legal fees. Right now, you've got $2,500 of your $9,000 back. So right now, you're only bit to the tune of $6,500, right?
Yeah.
Okay, that might be the most expensive tuition that a 23-year-old's paid lately. But if you pay tuition to the School of Life and that's all you pay instead of $65,000, it's not too bad. But let's see if we can salvage this. It doesn't sound like he's a liar, except about the part on the house, the first house selling and the 1031. It sounds like he's a neophyte, doesn't know what the crap he's doing. He took some TikTok thing on how to buy real estate. And I kind of know that because he got a 23-year-old as his financier who came up with a whole 10 grand, okay? This is not like a high roller here that's got an ultimate real estate experience. So I think he's just dumb, is what I'm saying, okay?
Yeah.
I don't think he's evil.
Yeah, I bet if the house is sold, you would have had your money.
Yeah, I think he hoped the house would sell and you'd have your money. And you were naive, that's being kind, to think that a contract was suddenly going to make sure that money appeared. Contracts don't do that. He has no money, dude, until the house sells. So why don't you go to him and say, instead of suing you, my financial advisor suggested that I take a second mortgage lien on your property and that you sign a lien for $30,000 on both properties. So now you have a $60,000 position. If he doesn't, and put terms to that has to be paid on sale or within 6 months, whichever is first, and he can go refinance and buy you out, okay?
Okay.
Now, if he does not, then you don't have to sue, you merely have to foreclose.
Okay.
And foreclosure is a lot cheaper and more efficient than a lawsuit.
Okay. So
go to him and say, instead of suing you, and instead of you and me going to court and all of this, I'm waiting on the house to sell, you're waiting on the house to sell. I'm either going to sue you this week, or you're going to give me a second mortgage lien for $30,000 on both properties. And then you don't screw him. Whenever you get your money, you release the other property. But whichever one sells first, you get your money.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
And don't do this again. Did you learn your lesson?
Yeah.
Okay. If you get out by the skin of your teeth, don't act like you're a pro. You just lucked freaking out if you get out of this deal. This is a deal where you deserved to lose $9,000. If you get out and don't get what you deserve, you can buy the T-shirt, Better Than I Deserve, and learn your lesson and move on.
Wow. He'll be lucky if he gets his money back.
I have done so many stupid things that I deserved to lose money. So I can say that to you, son. Oh my gosh. Yeah, you walked up on the thin ice and said, please crack, I want to be wet.
But he had a contract.
I know. But
I'm just joking.
The ice promised me it wouldn't crack. Yeah.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, when you're doing business with broke people, please expect them to do broke people things. And we know the guy is broke because he borrowed $9,000 from a 23-year-old.
Well, who knows if these properties are going to sell for what they hoped, and if there's even going to be any profit.
No idea, but it'd be fun to foreclose on it and see if you really want it or not.
Yeah, true.
That might be interesting. Create your free every dollar budget today, the simplest way to budget for your life.